Welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for June 18th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, first of all, it being June 18th and all, I want to let everybody know that Rob Worley and Josh Buchanan are going to be here today from 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 18th. Doing a signing for Scratch 9, Cat of Nine Worlds. Of course, Rob will sign anything that you have Scratch 9 related. But
he'll
he
sign
and Josh,
anything, actually.
Yeah, he probably will sign anything.
Yeah.
That's fine. But he's signed. He's written a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But so he'll sign anything. But we're certainly promoting the Cat of Nine Worlds tomorrow, so that should be cool. Swing on through. Now, my lead-off book here. I'm looking at Samurai Jack. This is issue number 9 by IDW. This is still written by Jim Zub, art by Ethan Beavers. So this is Andy must have taken another issue off. I know he's busy doing a lot of cool stuff. The artwork still looks pretty great. This has been a fun book. It's felt very much like the comic book. Like I'd said before, I was loving it because it was Andy Siriano who did do one of the covers. But if you liked the old Samurai Jack, you'll really enjoy this. It's been a fun book. Next up, I'm looking at, this is from Marvel Comics here, Original Sin, issue number 4 of 8. This has been kind of a fun story. I mean, they're slowly revealing what's going on. I really like what it is that Jason Aaron's doing and how he is managing to tell his event book.
Yeah. Someone's
killed the Watcher. There still has to be some mystery to satiate you in the beginning, and what they do is, what was it, the big eyeball-looking dude? He manages to get one of the eyeballs, and he's up to no good. He's a B-villain, so he's just going to unleash everybody's secrets. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that makes sense, but we're still no closer to finding out who actually killed him. We've got but someone is killing all kinds of celestial beings, because in the last issue, someone killed what looked like a planet that was actually a person, and they were trying to figure out what was going on, and then part of our group realized they were being attacked. In the meantime, something screwy has happened, and they were starting to look like they were suspecting Winter Soldier, but I think he, in truth, was just found out a little secret and went after Nick Fury. And that was kind of a bizarre ending for the last one.
Where did you see the ending of this one?
I don't know. Did you just see it?
I looked at the last page because I can't resist on this book now.
See, I don't want to peek because last time you did that to me when you were sitting there like blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Nick Fury's missing his head.
There's another didn't see that coming.
Okay. I think Jason Aaron's been doing a really good job with this book. It's been, I'm staying away from that end. It's been very, very solid. The artwork has been incredible, and it's been a fun book. Originally, when I heard, who killed the Watcher, it almost sounded like a bad episode of CSI.
Yeah.
I guess that implies they were good episodes. I wouldn't know. I've never seen the show. But it seemed like some kind of bad procedural cop show. Really, you're going to kill the Watcher. They had an talk outline and crap and all their promo material.
A little rubber eyes.
I love the rubber eyes. That was kind of sweet. But I just didn't understand what they were doing. And it seemed so goofy and silly. But it's been a great story, and I've really been digging it. Next up, I've got Daredevil. This is issue number 4. This is Mark Waid and Chris Samney, storytellers, they're saying. So Samney's back on the art, it looks like. This has been a cool book. They've moved, because Marvel has mostly moved out to California. They're moving all their characters there, too. Daredevil, who seemed like Hell's Kitchen was one of his, extra characters in the book. They just took him out of that. It's a little weird. I mean, I guess they pushed it as far as they could when they did the Shadowland and everything else. Right. And then Mark Waid's done some great stuff and taken them through, and now they've moved him out there. I think it's been a good story. It's been cool. The artwork's incredible.
Well, he was out in San Francisco back in the 70s.
Was it? Did they move him out there for a little while? Okay.
So I guess things are kind of swinging. Is
that when he was chasing Karen Page or something? Because I remember she went out there when they were.
I don't remember the details, but it's him and Black Widow
character
went to the West Coast for a while.
Okay. All right, so I'm sure it'll swing around again.
Yeah.
And I know they're setting the Netflix show in Hell's Kitchen.
Right. Yeah, by the time the TV show starts up, Daredevil will be back in New York.
Right. Next I've got, this is Empire of the Dead. This is issue number 5 of George A. Romero's continuation of the Dead series. I'm issues behind on this. I love flipping through it and seeing the Alex Mayleave artwork. I love that Romero's doing more zombie stuff. It's zombies versus vampires, which apparently is the evolution. That's what everybody's doing. Max Brooks is doing that with his Extinction Parade. But so I don't know how great this has been yet. I'm probably just going to have to sit down and read the whole thing when it's completed. But it is a book that's very much on my radar that I had been enjoying. This is Valiant Comics, Harbinger number 24. This is The Wake. They had killed one of their One of their teammates had died. That it was something that had happened in the previous series as well. So I guess they wanted to get through that. Admittedly, I'm an issue behind, so I didn't see who it was. It was not the person that it was the last time around. When they originally did this, that's not the character that they've killed, apparently. I'm not even sure who they did it to, but I think this had been a really strong book that I've just fallen behind on, as happens. But I do like what they're doing. Unity is also out this week, and it's got one of those chromium covers on it. I wrote an email to Adam Freeman, who's their head marketing guy over there, hoping I could get some of these chromiums as flat prints, because I had all of them when I was a kid. Remember when they used to do that as promotional material? I don't know if Valiant was planning on doing that for conventions. He hasn't responded back to me yet. So maybe I jumped the gun on something really cool that they had planned over there. But it was neat when they used to do that. I'm kind of hoping they do again. Yeah. I know they're making you jump through some hoops to even get those chromium covers. So they're making them a little bit harder to get. But some cool stuff, and I really want some of those flat chromium covers that I can get signed and hang up on my walls.
Nice.
Next up, I've got, this is from Image Comics. This is Sex Criminals number 6. I believe this is start of a new arc. They'd finished the previous arc. They'd already got the trade out. I'm also behind on this as well. But this is basically these people who have these time-stopping powers when they orgasm. And there was some kind of a committee that was watching over people who were doing that, because our main characters were robbing banks for a spell. And so I don't know where they've jumped to now. I've got to catch up on this one again as well. I really liked this book. The artwork, I think, is fantastic. The premise is kind of bizarre and goofy, and the book is a lot better than just its premise alone. Next up, looking at Thomas Alsop. This is a Boom book. Boom's always got one in my stack these days. This is written by Chris Miskevich. I'm sure I probably butchered that. I'm doing the best I can based on all my friends with WICZ combinations there. With art by Paul Schmidt, I don't know, Palle. I don't really know a whole lot about this book, but it sounded interesting from the from the solicitation.
Nice artwork.
Really, really cool looking stuff. I don't entirely remember what the solicitation said, but the art looks cool. Boom's doing some neat stuff. And when we had, who do we have in here? Sean Manning last week signing Strange Drug, which was his book through Archaea. I believe Boom owns Archaea. Yep. This was a book he was really excited about. And apparently he had, friended these guys, on the convention circuit. And this was one that he was really, really excited for. So, yeah, I'm excited as well. He was asking me, he's like, "You're carrying that, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I usually carry that Boom stuff. They've been impressing me lately."
Cool.
So that is my rather short stack this week.
I also have a short stack, and it's going to start off with Uncanny X-Men number 22. This is still Brian Michael Bendis and Chris Bichello. Right. This is continuing and actually kind of concluding the story of the Sentinels versus the X-Men. Okay. The people have been sending Sentinels against the X-Men. They seem to be from S.H.I.E.L.D. It turns out they're not. Okay. This reveals who has been behind this all along. We had Mystique, who had been posing as Dazzler, who was the liaison to the mutants. Magneto found out about that and freed Dazzler and was none too happy that Mystique was betraying her own people for money and her other reasons. So yeah, we're going to get the ending to that storyline, and we're going to get the reveal of who actually was responsible for it. I did kind of flip ahead to see who was responsible, and nobody I would have guessed, but someone that makes a certain amount of sense.
Boulevard Trask. It seems like they're doing everything else that ties into the movie.
No, this one actually kind of throws you for a loop and jumps out of kind of that continuity, and there's just a nice joke about. If I tell you the joke, it'll spoil it.
Oh, all right. Well,
but yeah, there's it's a clever twist on a clever twist and kind of clever commentary on what's going on in the X-Men comics right now. Okay. As far as the all-new X-Men and the Uncanny X-Men and who they are and what they are. Next up, we've got Supergirl 32. This is continuing the Red Daughter of Krypton. I don't believe this is tying directly into what's going on in the Lantern books, even though she is in the Red Lantern books right now. So this is kind of her own storyline. Apparently, this world killer. So I'm not sure that I actually kind of know what's going on with this. I don't know if this character is from earlier in her run that I haven't read. But basically, we've got the Red Lantern Supergirl and fighting against some aliens, some science fiction sort of thing going on here. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'm just getting it because she's a Red Lantern. Next up, Original Sin tie-in. This is Avengers number 31. Previously, Captain America figured out that the Illuminati had messed with his mind,
Okay.
and was none too happy about that. This looks like it's going to continue some of that and tie it in with some of the other stuff going on in Hickman's Avengers series. We've been told that it's coming to an end. They've kind of started giving hints as to where things are going, but we're kind of coming towards this big sort of wrap up tie-in with Original Sin. It's got some great Lionel Yu artwork.
That
on
artwork's
this.
fantastic.
So I don't know exactly what the specific story in this one is. I know in the last one, looks like they're jumping ahead to the future too. I thought the time travel was supposed to stop. What's going on with that? 500 into the future. That's what this is called. So apparently it's 500 years into the future.
They broke the time stream with all of the time travel, right? So maybe it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I guess not. But yeah, it looks like it's a future world. Yeah, there's Thor meeting his future self, and Captain America again with the realization that his friends are not so friendly. Next up, Batman Eternal number 11. This is the weekly Batman book I've been raving about for 11 weeks. Again, really solid stuff. This looks like some strange artwork for a Batman book.
It's like something out of a...
Ian Bertram.
It's like something out of like old school Mad Magazine.
Yeah, I mean, it's got kind of a little bit of a sketchy Chris Burnham, kind of a comedic vibe here. This is very strange. I was not expecting to see artwork that looked like that. Still, it's nice. Nice stuff, but a little unusual. So we found out that Carmine Falcone is not the mastermind behind this, that someone else has set all this into play, and he's merely kind of found out about it and is going to capitalize on what's going on in Gotham. So who's actually behind this gang war and all that's going on? We still don't know. We know there's a mystical side to this. We know that the Batman characters are kind of spreading around trying to figure out what's going on. Batgirl's trying to get evidence to free her father, who's been wrongly imprisoned. So it's a big Batman epic that's kind of taking twists and turns that so far I've been really enjoying a lot.
Right on.
Next up, Green Lantern New Guardians number 32. Don't remember where this one left off. Kyle Rayner had kind of started to reveal some of the stuff that was happening on the other side of the source wall. But he's been traveling around the universe with Star Sapphire and the Guardians, just kind of doing some cool science fiction stuff. When underneath all of it, there's been this kind of story of Kyle kind of finding out what he really is as the White Lantern. But this has been a great story. Justin Jordan, Brad Walker have been just doing really good, solid sci-fi stories with kind of an underpinning of a big story going on. And I'm curious as to where all this is going to play out.
I like Justin Jordan's writing a lot.
Yeah,
I think he's very talented.
Very talented writer. Next up, Manhattan Projects number 21. This one's called Space Dog. That should be all you need. We got Ryan Brown back as the artist on this one, who's been doing a great job when he fills in for Nick Pitara.
Absolutely.
Looks like that the cosmonaut Russian dog seems to take center stage in this one, and we find out what happens to him when his ship was kind of lost. Oh, looks like we get a little
God Hates Astronauts.
God Hates Astronauts preview, because God Hates Astronauts is going to be published by Image.
Yep.
We've.
I'm so excited that that's actually a comic.
I'm sure that's great stuff.
We used to talk about that on what was it on Zod Complex.
So this is some good stuff. I am caught up on this finally. We've resolved the multiple Oppenheimers. Maybe you never know. We've also resolved the Einsteins. The two Einsteins have been reunited. We have our own Einstein back, and his alternate universe version has now dyed his hair and is going to be someone else for a while. But we've learned that Oppenheimer is the embodiment of evil in all universes, and Einstein, when he was not on Earth, was popping around to other universes, killing off Oppenheimers. So he showed up and killed off Oppenheimer, and now he and his duplicate are going to kind of go off into space and fulfill the next part of their plan. And I think this Russian cosmonaut dog is going to be part of it. But still, just some weird, crazy, funny stuff from Jonathan Hickman. Next up, we've got The Wicked and the Divine. This is by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey. I was a big fan of the phonogram stuff that they were doing at Image a while back. And then they did some other stuff. I think they worked together on Young Avengers, which was pretty solid. That didn't quite click with me as well.
Okay.
They have a very interesting tone. It's kind of a subtler, quieter, kind of hip indie comic vibe, and maybe that just doesn't click in a mainstream superhero book, even one about teenagers. I have no idea what's the plot of this is.
Me neither, but it looks good. I'm willing
It's
to give it a shot.
good artwork. It looks like it's got some sort of occult overtones, which certainly
Okay.
the original Phonogram book had. I enjoyed that a lot, so we'll give it a shot. See what they can deliver here.
Right, it's an image number 1.
Yep,
Might as well give it a look.
that's my stack.
All right, I've got Drumheller issue number 6. This is from Image Comics. I love this book. It's Riley Rossmo doing his thing. He's doing the story and art, and Alex Link is actually writing the script. This issue here is kind of their homage to the Alan Moore Swamp Thing sex issue.
Nice.
Some really, really just great, fantastic stuff in here. I read this book months ago, so I'm a little sketchy on everything that happened. The art is they basically trip out and have this kind of strange kind of orgy to get to the answers of where Drum needs to be next.
Wow.
But there's psycho little kid. There's like other things going on elsewhere. And what I love about this is pretty much in everything I've ever written, I always have a moment in a diner. And everything I've ever written, God is a waitress named Kay. And Drum is always in a diner, talking to the waitress, getting a little bit of wisdom, and I really enjoy that because I think that's where the wisdom comes from. In diners over breakfast.
Very good point. My top pick this week is a Star Trek book. This is Star Trek Harlan Ellison's City on the Edge of Forever, the original teleplay.
Cool.
If you're a Star Trek fan, you are certainly familiar with the episode City on the Edge of Forever, written by the amazing author Harlan Ellison, who has written a lot of books, a lot of material, kind of pretty famous and an outspoken writer.
He's probably known more for that.
Yes, he's an angry man. He's a very, very angry man. Ellison wrote the original screenplay. It was changed very heavily by the time it was broadcast. He was not happy with this.
Can we make Harlan Ellison and John Byrne work on a Star Trek comic together?
Oh my God, the world would explode. The world would explode. It would just be called Cranky or Angry or something like that. But anyway, the guys at IDW, much like the guys at Dark Horse went back to George Lucas's original draft to do the Star Wars, they are actually here adapting Ellison's original teleplay. Cool. So if they had done it, which just flipping through it, it looks very, very different. I've not actually read the teleplay itself. It has been published.
Okay.
But I've read kind of a summary of it, synopsis of it. So there were quite a few changes that were made, some of which were made because what Ellison was asking for was a little beyond the budget of a 1960s TV show. Some of the behaviors of the characters were not necessarily as consistent with what had been going on the show. This was a first season show, so maybe at the time he wrote it, the writer's Bible wasn't sort of finalized. So needless to say that Gene Roddenberry and the studio made some changes. But this is what would have shown up on the screen had they had the ability and the wherewithal to do it back then. I really enjoyed that Star Wars book and seeing the sort of alternate dimension where NBC decided, we'll shell out some more money and we'll do some kind of wackier, weirder stuff and have some drugs in it and all kinds of things like that. But it's Star Trek. It's the original Harlan Ellison story. Some really great artwork by J.K. Woodward, who did the artwork on that Star Trek Doctor Who crossover.
Oh, okay.
A while back. So this has actually been a very good time to be a Star Trek fan and a comic book fan, because between this and the John Byrne stuff, we're getting some great representation of classic old school Trek, along with the modern stuff going on. And I just hope they do more kind of weird hidden gems like this. I mean, there's a lot of old Star Trek ideas, pitches for movies that never happened.
IDW seems to be pretty willing to try some things, and apparently, the people over there at Paramount are letting them go.
Yeah, so
because it's got to meet approval.
Oh yeah, this is definitely all approved, and even the fact that Paramount didn't put this out, and obviously Ellison's kind of said horrible things about them over the years. And they still put that aside because they figure, what the hell? Let's sell some.
Because nobody listens to Ellison anymore either, though.
This is true. He's angry at everything. If he sees this show, he'll be angry.
Oh, I'm sure. We should send it to
So
him.
yeah. Hi, Arlen.
But not a huge week, but a lot of really good stuff
good
this
stuff,
week.
though.
And so that is your Week in Geek.